Hello everyone, welcome back to another week of football. This time we got the Longhorns versus Vanderbilt and Cowboys versus 49ers. So yeah, just more of the same from these two. I guess I'll start off with the Longhorns here. So Vanderbilt, if you had told me Vanderbilt would have been a scary game to play at the start of the year, I wouldn't have believed you because, well, it's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's kind of have a reputation of being the smart school that's bad at football, but no, not this year. I mean, obviously everyone knows about the massive upset win over number 1 Alabama, but they're almost bowl eligible. Like, they just need one more win to be bowl eligible, and I did not want Texas to be the team to do it. So yeah, the game starts, and again with the first quarter slow start with Texas. I don't know why we keep doing this. I don't know why it's happening, but just we gotta fix that. We really need to fix, because like as the Georgia game showed, that's not gonna slide against like real teams and stuff. But yeah, just another slow start in the first quarter. Ewers gets a terrible interception that gives Vanderbilt very good field position to start. And Vanderbilt opens the game ahead, so that's concerning. But after that, we clean it up. Ewers was more accurate throughout the rest of the game. We got some more points on the board, and we're up by a fairly big margin, around half. With that said, Vanderbilt was absolutely not out of the game. That quarterback for Vanderbilt is crazy. He kept kicking, screaming, dragging this team kicking and screaming into like still being like, 2-point game or 1-point game. It never felt out of reach for them. Which is concerning, but that's just been Vanderbilt this year. But with that said, Texas still played pretty well. Like, our defense held Vanderbilt pretty well. The only time Vanderbilt really scored was when we gave them either decent field position due to turnovers and like. Granted, there were a few times where, yeah, they did go all the way on a normal drive, but still, for the most part, defense held up. The offense did its job mostly. Like, again, it was, like, always in Vanderbilt's reach. It was always, like, maybe a 1 or 2 score game. It wasn't, like, 50 a burger to like, nothing, like some other games we had over the season. But it was still, we still ended up winning that game. I think, and then the part where we won it was like when we got a big turnover late into the fourth against Vanderbilt. And granted, we didn't get the touchdown, but we did get a field goal off of that made it a 2-score game. And so all we had to do was just not let Vanderbilt get the onside kick, and like also have the Vandy do a slow, time-consuming drive to get into the touchdown range rather than like quick, like immediately it's there, so that way we didn't give them any time to be able, if we go 4 and out, then we wouldn't give them any time to make a miracle happen. But yeah, so Vanderbilt ended up only losing that by a 1-score game, and this year and beyond, I'm rooting for Vandy because it's Vanderbilt. It's a feel-good story this year. And, I just didn't want them to win this 1 week because, it's my team that they're going against. I'm not going to root against my team. But, yeah, I hope Vandy does end up being bowl eligible by the end of the season. Hopefully they can do it this week because I think they have a pretty... Aren't they playing Auburn next week? Yeah, they're playing Auburn. So, yeah, there's a very good opportunity that they'll be bowl eligible next week. So, yeah, that's Vanderbilt, Longhorns. Longhorns had a good game. But Vanderbilt also had a very good game. Just sort of like, it's good that the Longhorns won this game because now with that loss against Georgia, it's not going to be easier trying to make the playoffs because, one-loss teams, it's not good to be a one-loss team if you want to make it. With that said, our schedule, I don't want to say it's easy because it's easier than, Oklahoma, Georgia, because, Georgia's a freaking hard team. But, Florida, for how, brutally hard their schedule is, they're managing it pretty well. Don't get me wrong, Florida's way out of the playoff race at this point. But still, Florida can be bowl eligible if they are able to sneak a few wins in there. With that said, again, this is with that brutal schedule that Florida has. So we have Florida, and then we got, I think, Arkansas, which is in Fayetteville, so that's going to be really tough. and like they just beat the other UT a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, Florida's going to be tougher than we think. Arkansas is definitely going to be tougher than we think. Kentucky is also, they also like gave Georgia a scare, so that's also a concerning team. And then, oh boy, we'll get to A&M. We'll get to A&M, but like, yeah, that's the Longhorns. And so I guess I'll talk about the rest of the college football world. Notre Dame Navy, that was brutal for Navy. And like, it was mostly unforced errors on them. They had like, what, 6 turnovers? It was really bad, and Navy got crushed by Notre Dame. So yeah, Notre Dame wins that one, beats Navy. Notre Dame confirmed anti-American. How could you do that to the feel-good military school that's 6-0 or whatever? Unbelievable. So the other game I watched at that time thought was Ohio State, Nebraska. That was way closer than it should have been. Way closer than it should. Because like, but at the same time, it makes sense that's close. Because like, Nebraska can't just lose. They have to make their fans feel hope first before they crush them. And Ohio State they were down to Nebraska in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately, it's Nebraska. Nebraska, like South Carolina, is the fandom's pain, and so Nebraska ends up losing that. And yeah, like, I shouldn't be too worried. I still think Nebraska can break their bowl curse because they have a game against UCLA this week. But if they don't win that, it's going to be really tough to find win number 6 for Nebraska. And Ohio State, it's not looking too good. It's pretty scary. With that said, they're playing Penn State next week, and Ohio State does not lose to Penn State, so I think we don't have to worry about that too hard there. But yeah, other games. Alabama, Missouri, that was a big bounce back game for Alabama. They're down, but they ain't out, you know? Like, that was a crushing defeat against Missouri. That was really bad. And like, it wasn't looking too good in the first half. Like, in the first half, it was kind of close. Both teams kind of playing not that good, but in the end, Alabama just kind of ran away with that one. The other 2 games I want to talk about were the primetime ones. I guess I'll talk about Penn State, Wisconsin first. Penn State, kind of, like, it was a pretty solid win in their case. It was, like, not a crazy blowout, but still, like, yeah, Penn State was the better team that night. With that said, their next game is against Ohio State, and I think Penn State has only won against Ohio once in the past 8 years. It's not good. Like, Penn State losing to Ohio State is kind of a guarantee for me. Like, I have zero qualms about the idea that Penn State's going to lose next week. So, yeah, they're going to have their first loss of the season there. But I guess if there's any team that benefits from the new playoff format, it's Penn State, because now losing to Ohio State automatically doesn't end their season. With that said, I don't think they're going to make it to the top 4 once they're in the playoffs, because, like I said, they got to run up against Ohio State, and they don't win against Ohio State. But yeah, Penn State won that game against Wisconsin. The other game, oh boy, Texas A&M versus LSU. This was the most Brian Kelly game ever. LSU were up against A&M, and I was ready to just laugh and make fun of A&M and have a jolly old good time. But unfortunately, it's a big game against a big A&M team, and Brian Kelly is undefeated in losing these kinds of games. He just keeps doing it. He keeps blowing it in these kind of like big games against top 15, top 10, whatever teams. And yeah, A&M wins, and the prices for the Longhorn A&M game tickets are just ridiculous now, because now it's looking very likely that A&M and Longhorns will be top 10 teams by the time Black Friday rolls around. So yeah, that's kind of concerning, because we have A&M on the schedule, and A, we have A&M on the schedule. B, A&M's gonna play us like hell, because they got a lot of pepped up anger towards us after we won the last time, and you know, we live rent free in their heads. But just standard performance by LSU, choking it in a big game, and a good performance by A&M. Hopefully they don't screw it up though, because battered Aggie syndrome. There's something's gonna come up that's gonna screw them over. But yeah, that was a big game, and Aggies are scary right now. So that's college football. Let's move on to the Cowboys and the NFL. Oh God, So I don't know what stooge at NBC saw the game against San Francisco last year in Santa Clara, where we got beat up 30-something to 10, saw that and go, yeah, that was great. That was great television. We should do that again this year. But apparently it was. So now the Cowboys are playing the 49ers again in primetime, again in Santa Clara, again. So I was not looking forward to this game because I knew this was going to be just a crushing game for us. And yeah, it was. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't as much of a beatdown as last time. Just total embarrassment last time we faced them. But it was still pretty bad. We were still I think we had barely a lead in the second half, but by the third quarter, we just completely collapsed. And the 49ers up by 2-3 scores. It was embarrassing. So yeah, fourth quarter's rolling around. It's pretty clear San Francisco's winning this, and wow, that is a very open catch by CeeDee Lamb. But fine, whatever, it's still a 2-point game, and there's no way San Francisco, and wow, that is a very open touchdown again by CeeDee Lamb. 49ers, what are you doing? Why are you letting us back into this game? We don't deserve to be back in this game. And we get a defensive stop with 3 minutes left on the clock, and one timeout, maybe no timeouts, but still 3 minutes on the clock either way. We're in position to possibly get this game tied. So, first down, we don't get anything. Second down, we don't get anything. Third down, Dak throws it up. It's a perfectly placed ball right to Turpin, and it bounces off of his helmet harmlessly to the ground. And then fourth down, we don't get the conversion, and San Francisco wins. Thanks, Dallas. Thanks for pulling on my heartstrings at the last minute, giving me just a little bit of hope. The Cowboys, it's a struggle. It's really this season's a real struggle. We had a brutal 3-game stretch against the Steelers, the Lions, and the 49ers, and we only won one of those games. And granted, it's better than losing all 3, but this is still a very lost season at this point. I don't know what this team is, what its soul is, what its character is, what makes this team worthy of A, going to playoffs, B, winning games in them when we get in. It's just I don't see how we can pull this off, and I don't think we're gonna pull this off. So yeah, next game we have is against the Falcons. The Falcons are at the top of their division, but I don't trust the Falcons. I feel more confident in the Buccaneers to win the NFC South. With that said, do not look past the Falcons, Cowboys. I'm begging you. They can hurt you. They got plenty of the weapons to do it. So just focus on winning against them. Focus on them now, and then worry about the rest of your brutal schedule. Because, oh God, we got the Eagles, we got the Commies twice. We got the Texans. It's gonna be a rough schedule, and you need this win. You need this win. So yeah, that was the Cowboys' terrible game against the 49ers, where we just lose. And granted, again, it was closer than last time, but still, that's an L on the column. And so I guess now it would be talking about the rest of professional football. So, Eagles, Bengals. I'm starting to lose hope in the I am losing hope in the Bengals, because it's another brutal loss, and these brutal losses keep stacking up, and I don't know what Cincinnati needs to do, because they have Joe Burrow, they have Jamar Chase, all the pieces that were there for the first run to the Super Bowl is still there. I don't know what's going on though. I don't know what they need to do to fix it at this point. It's really not looking too good for Cincinnati here, and I don't know. It's Joe Burrow's the only QB who's beaten Mahomes in the playoffs so far, outside of Brady, but come on. So I guess it's more upsetting that I don't know who else would beat Kansas in the other cases. So next game that I watched, Buffalo Seahawks. That was a blowout for Buffalo. Buffalo completely dominated the Seahawks. And the NFC West is up for grabs at this point. Shockingly, the Cardinals are on top despite being like 500, which is interesting. I expected 49ers are on top, but like Cardinals are in second, which is way better. Which like I thought that they were gonna do well because I felt that they were a much better team than people realized. Because like they looked terrible last season, but the thing is they have a healthy Kyler Murray now, and they got a new weapon in Harris Jr. So yeah, but like they're doing well. The NFC West is kind of up for grabs, and just a really brutal game for the Seahawks. Next game, Bears Commies. Let me tell you, I watched this game, and like I watched like the first half or so, and I thought, oh wow, this is kind of like an ugly bad game, and Washington's ahead by multiple scores. Yeah, I kind of don't, and the Bears are playing really bad, so I kind of don't have a lot of faith in them. So yeah, I'm just gonna go. And then I left, and then the game ended, and I was just kind of like hanging out. And then I saw the highlights, and apparently Chicago got back into the game, was ahead, and was about to win it until Washington had just a crazy Hail Mary at the last second. It was incredible. It was so cool. It was so awesome. That was fantastic. That's fantastic football. That was a hell of an ending. That was awesome. So yeah, that was I'm pretty sure you've all heard about the miracle at Maryland at this point. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add outside of what everyone else said. That was a great throw. That was a great ending to the game. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all the games I had watched. I didn't watch the Giants-Steelers game, but I did hear about the absolutely terrible 2-point conversion by the Giants. And yeah, that was funny. That was silly. But yeah, that's football this past week. So join us next time, as I think the Longhorns have a bye, but the Cowboys are playing the Falcons, and please, 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 Cowboys, don't look past the Falcons. With that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, bye.